to MTU Esports. Today, our MTU Huskies League of Legends team is taking on DePaul University in their premier game of the season. Currently, MTU is 1-0 in played games, and this is DePaul University's premier game in the league.
Yes, so DePaul got an interesting bye against UTD in week 1 as a forfeit, and MTU faced the Drury Panthers and 2-0'd them with a lot of hard-hitting, action-packed League of Legends.
I'm your co-host, Philip, or Hob.
And I'm your host, Coach Isbell. And we'll be getting into draft soon in about 2 or 3 minutes. But before that, we'd like to introduce the people who are going to be playing on the side of MTU. So we've got Kent Raffy, the Craftinator, David Scott, Poe in a Box, Hayden Long, Big Daddy Bard, Kevin Dorr, 67, and Brandon Cox, Oblivionize. And that will be your MTU Huskies.
Over on the side of DePaul University, you have Jay Wang 7, Melon Rich, Mystics, Smurf God 532, and William.
Okay. And what I'd like to see from our Huskies essentially is a really tanky top laner, right? A really focused carry and roaming mid laner.
I do like those roaming mid laners, and we have seen Big Daddy Bard play those mid laners in the last couple of games, especially, and helping us carry that to the win, actually.
And so Big Daddy Bard has been pivotal in taking objectives, especially early ones, to help secure those early gold advantages. And so we're going to be looking for Big Daddy Bard to make his presence known and kind of get our team in an early great spot to then carry that to the Nexus.
Corona Box and Jungle has always done, in my opinion, an amazing job in helping that mid laner catapult into success, especially with this last Tuesday's games, picking as Nocturne and J4, helping those engages, especially roaming around the mid lane heavy early game.
Yes, and I have no doubt that Poe in a Box will carry that into these games. I think he's got great map presence. He does a lot of jungle invades that takes resources away from the enemy jungle early on, and we're going to see some really stellar League of Legends action.
We are getting into picks and bans currently, actually, and we do see a Jax ban on the side of MTU. I think it's a very wise choice, especially as a first ban, because he has gotten not just a visual buff, but also some general buffs as well.
Sure, and we're going to see a support ban against Oblivionize, trying to get those double mages out of the bot lane. And so Oblivionize does play a very mean Nico.
We are also seeing a couple tanks getting out of the way. We see a Poppy. We saw that also on Tuesdays. Our top laner does love to play a Poppy here and there, and I'm seeing a heavy ban coming from it.
Sure, and that Poppy offers a lot of engage as well as disengage, especially around objectives.
That is one thing to let through, though. Ivern has been picked on the side of MTU. Porona Box does enjoy really heavy iron play sometimes.
Yes, and he can really roam very well with that Friend of the Forest, securing jungle camps early on, and then walking away to assist his teammates.
Now, I know it's not as strong as it was earlier in the season. We could just build Nasher's Tooth and straight AP Ivern and just solo carry games. But Ivern still is a very strong pick in this meta game right now.
Sure, and I mean, with the addition of his ultimate with Daisy is a team fight brings a lot of advantage to team fight situations.
Exactly. We see the other jungle pick as well at the same time with the Lee Sin over on the side of DePaul.
Now, Lee Sin's going to want to be aggressive early on, and it's going to be really exciting to see who's the more aggressive jungler.
So the thing with Lee Sin, to me personally, is he can have a very flashy early game and get fed and just solo carry the entire game. But if he just does a nice slow farm and builds more of a bruiser build, he'll be a late game menace as well.
Right, and we see 2 ADCs coming out. We see Ezreal on the side of DePaul, and we see Aphelios and Karma on the side of MTU. So we've kind of got our bot lane secure.
So I find this actually kind of funny. This is the first time in a draft in a while they're kind of one-for-oneing this pick. I pick a jungle, you pick a jungle. I'll pick my ADC. Now it's all on DePaul to pick their support.
Yes, and here's where they have a lot of leverage, right? Because they could pick a support, and they could pick something else.
That is true. The junglers mid laning still has yet to get banned out from the DePaul side. So they could kind of get a free pick here, but the support is picked, and it's Nautilus on the side of DePaul.
Now, I'd say Nautilus and Ezreal are a scary comp. It allows a lot of engage as well as disengage. And you're going to see a lot of spacing plays, especially in the bot lane.
It's definitely going to be a poking match on the side of DePaul with that Ezreal versus Karma, but also heavy engage with that Nautilus wanting to get in close.
Yep. And so we're kind of waiting on the next bands. Red is kind of holding their band selection here. So it'd be interesting to see what they ban out, whether they're going to go top side or going to focus on some mid laners here.
It seems to be a Gragas ban coming out. That might be for the top side with MTU also banning top side Darius.
Yep. And so I wonder if they're going to pick another top side ban here because we've just recently actually moved 67 to ADC from top lane. So you're going to see a lot of top lane bans going to be targeted at him, but he's no longer in that role.
I'll be honest, I was always a fan of Kevin up in the top lane. I'm always rooting him on as a streamer and as a friend.
And there we go. The last pick is going to be Talia mid. It could also be a Talia jungle pick, but I feel with the Ivern showing that that's definitely dedicated to the mid lane.
Yeah, they saw just what menace that we had on Big Daddy Bard on the Talia Tuesday.
Yep.
And I think they're getting a little scared of that.
Yeah, and Talia has a lot of roaming presence. And so realistically, what I'd like MTU to pick here is an Aurelion Soul.
Ooh, that is a good one. But we did see on the Tuesday game on the Soul that we had built a Leandries over hyper-scaling Rod of Ages.
Yes.
That's a different build than I'm used to seeing.
But it allowed him to scale kind of from the early game into the late game. And that's where I think he was able to excel by helping his other lanes get ahead and get fed. And it didn't matter if he was a presence or not.
Oh, yeah, because we did see him actually get caught out once or twice. Hopefully he can avoid that next time in the play. But in his constant roams, even if he got caught out solo laning, he was helping our bot lane, for example, catapult to success.
Yes, and we have that last Aurelion Soul pick. So just as we were predicting the future. So from the side of MTU, we have Ivern, Aphelios, Karma, Zach, and Aurelion Soul. And this is going to be a great match, I feel.
It's a very thick, tanky team, I have to say, especially with the Karma shielding coming in. That's a lot of protection for your carries through the Soul and Aphelios.
And so now DePaul is really sitting on that last pick. I wonder what they're going to pick top because we've clearly seen, Camille.
So we did see a Zach versus Camille game actually Tuesday, this exact same matchup in the top lane. The main reason why we chose Zach, in my opinion, against it is not only because of the amazing CC chain late game, but he's able to survive a lot of that true damage from the Camille's second Q.
And more importantly, I think that this is a really MTU, no biased, favored matchup. They have a lot of good scaling champions that could take them into the late game and definitely secure that win.
To me, it's not only just definite scaling. I think MTU genuinely has a better front-to-back kind of team fight.
Yes.
You're seeing the two engagers through Ivern's Daisy and Zach's coming in, jumping in. You got the mid-range of Karma trying to crowd control as they come in, and Ivern also sitting in that mid-range with Aphelios either trying to sit back or go back into mid-range, with Aurelion Soul being able to go anywhere.
But Karma can also shield and accelerate.
Exactly.
So she can really accelerate some of our key pieces like Aurelion Soul or Aphelios into combat range and make significant damage happen on the map.
Exactly. And then if you look over on the side of DePaul, yes, you get shields from Lee Sin trying to help out, jumping back and forth, but really the only mid or back line you have is just Orianna or Ezreal.
And you don't really have a dedicated front line, right? Because they decided to go bruiser jungle, right? Nautilus is their only real frontline carry. So they're going to have to poke down a lot of damage and just try to discourage fighting as much as possible until they get one or two from MTU side down.
One major advantage I do think DePaul might have is this amazing team fight CC chain they have.
And they will be looking for an early Wombo combo, I'm sure, especially with Nautilus R and then Lee Sin's Q.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that if Karma and Aphelios can just stay at range and shield, they will be able to avoid a lot of the chain CS, at least taking the game into kind of more high-stake team fight situations.
Hopefully DePaul has learned and at least watched the Blitzcrank versus us from Tuesday, because that Blitzcrank all day, every day only hooked our Zach topside, and that just allowed us to engage every single time.
And that's the great thing with Zach is that he has his passive. And so he could very easily burn his passive, go into, stay for the next team fight, and essentially even just burn the clock down to where his teammates can come in and help.
And he's a good target for ults from the enemy team from our point of view.
Yes, Zach is a great target. And so realistically, we're going to have a great game between these two schools, MTU with DePaul. And realistically, each one have a fair opportunity of coming out ahead in game one. It's going to come down to who has the better kind of overall map presence and kind of objective control.
I think if DePaul gets the lead early into mid game, they definitely have a serious chance. But if they let MTU scale into late game with the Aurelian Soul and the Aphelios, it's going to be very dangerous for them.
Now, I do have to comment on one thing. And looking at the chat, I see a lot of chatter about Taco Bell. And so that seems to be a staple of the MTU community. And so I get it. You know, not only should we be getting good food, but we should be looking for a good place to live, right? And so this is a great place to mention our sponsor, Houghton for Rent. If you're looking for a great place around campus to find a house, look no further than Houghton for Rent.
That is HoughtonForRent.com. Once again, HoughtonForRent.com.
And so now that we have our ad read out for the day, we can get back to more hard-hitting League of Legends
Talking
action.
about Taco Bell. Sorry, talking about Taco Bell. I just had some yesterday for dinner. I was having a little bit of a lower day. I feel you guys in chat.
And hey, my go-to is I always buy it on the app. I always go for the online exclusive make your own box. It's $6.35.
Not sponsored by Taco Bell, by the way. I always go for the night. I just go for like $2 burritos. I like it nice and simple, just driving through.
Okay. And so we're preparing our loadout, and we'll be into the game in about 20 seconds. But realistically, going back to kind of how champ selection went, I really feel that MTU has a little bit of advantage.
Yes, I fully agree. In the early game, especially with the Karma to continue to poke and just shield off that damage that the Ezreal's potential to do, as long as they just stay behind minions, the Nautilus hook will not provide much of a threat early game, which Nautilus needs to do.
And not only that, I mean, we have, two good roaming jungles. Ivern's going to be all over the map. He's one of the fastest clears in the game.
And Soul's going to be everywhere on the map.
And so it'll be interesting to see if Lee Sin is able to do a quick level 3 gank, because we know that Ivern's going to be there.
Exactly. Sorry about going right to bot lane. I'm an ADC main, so my mind is immediately like, all right, who's going where and how can I improve this as an ADC?
And that's a great thing, too, because, I mean, we have the Aurelian Soul, so we have a lot of advantage on top side, right, in case we need to get early objectives there. And realistically, it's just going to be a really safe kind of, I think, 10 minutes play, and I don't think we're going to see much action until first objective.
I definitely think top side, if we look at top side, I don't think there's going to be, unless there's going to be heavy ganks from far pushes, but these players are upper elo, so they know exactly how to hold waves when they should be messing with the waves and such, or when they should be fighting. So we shouldn't see too much of a brawl, because Zach can survive trades and come back when he needs to, and Camille can just jump out of gank, so I don't think there should be too much action on the top side. Jungling, we did see vertical jungling on Tuesday, and that shows just how willing into the enemy jungle that Porona Box is able to go.
It's really interesting that vertical jungling is coming back. That used to be a thing a couple seasons ago.
I haven't seen it in 2 seasons. That's the thing.
And realistically, it's what vertical jungling allows you to do is essentially focus on what are our win conditions and what are the objectives that we're going to focus on.
Yes. And last time we did focus topside, but we did take both Rift Heralds that game as well.
And Rift Heralds, to me, are always going to be the most important of value, because when it comes down to taking turret plates, right, they're always going to give you those 2 free plates, which is roughly about 250 gold.
Yeah. And I think not only is that a lot of money just in the pockets of the jungler, but if you share a little bit of gold with your ADC or your mid laner, that's definitely going to help widen the advantage, especially in that mid lane.
It's going to help you either get a tier of your item, if not your full legendary item, and put you at a huge advantage when taking fights or trading with your opposing laner.
Now, with these given junglers, we did see on Tuesday, on the second game played, we saw a very early dragon taken with the J4 jungle. I don't think with what's matched up right now, we're going to see a super early fight for dragon like on Tuesday.
I think at the very least, we're going to see both teams trying to fake a dragon take and then back off.
Trying to bait in a team fight if they can, if they're in the optimal position. Like if there's the mid laner, the Soul roaming down very easily on a 3-man fight versus the enemy bot lane and jungle.
And don't get me wrong, I would love to see a breakout fight, a 3v3 in the bot lane. That would be more than exciting
I'm here
to
for
cast.
The fiesta.
But if we're going to be playing sound, fundamental League of Legends, we're not going to see a good objective until 10 minutes out.
I fully agree with you, especially with this team comp, with MTU's team comp. They're more of a mid-game to scaling comp. Like that Aphelios, if you get to mid-game Aphelios, 2-item Aphelios is scary no matter who you are.
And, especially with the Aphelios changes, I miss his old kit where you throw out the Galaxy. But with the new Stardust rework, that Stardust starts to do damage. And with, a lot of Stardust built up, you can significantly change the course of a team fight.
I'll be honest, I didn't super look into it. I haven't played Soul actually since his rework. I don't know why. A lot of my friends play Soul, and I haven't been able to touch him in a while. So I know everyone probably knows, but can you just quickly give me a quick lowdown on how the Stardust has changed?
So I'm unfamiliar with it as well, but as far as I understand, his Stardust actually fuels all of his abilities.
Okay, instead of just buffing his ultimate, or how it used to be?
Yep, and so he collects Stardust from doing damage to champions, and I could be mistaken, but that's usually how you would collect it.
Okay.
And so it's kind of more like a Viger. I think it's his E, or no, his Q. His Q that
kills minions and builds his stacks. Yes.
Yes, and so his actually gives him damage increase as well as cooldown reduction.
Oh, okay. So I'm not saying I might have to change from APC Viger as my pocket pick to an APC Aurelian Soul or anything.
And people have actually played Aurelian Soul in the bot lane as support. And so you're going to see a lot of good plays throughout this bot. You're going to want to see Aurelian Soul really roam around the map and try to take his advantage.
I know what else do I need to have. And then I will. So what tab does is it takes it down permanently.
Sorry about that. We're having a little bit of
technical issues for a second. And you did miss something great. I'm sorry. You actually did miss a first blood in favor of MTU. Both teams roamed down to the bot lane and had a little fight in the river bush.
And so what's really good is you can see that gold advantage being, put in the hands of our bot lane. Unfortunately, it was given to our support, so he can get another support item, or maybe a pink order too. But you really want to see that gold advantage in the hands of an ADC or mid lane carry.
I love the cockiness of Dr. Kennan. We see a Doran's seal being purchased.
Doran's
ring.
Oh, so that's, I think it's.
Dark Seal. Dark Seal, not
yeah.
Doran. Sorry, Dark Seal. I got the first letter right, all right?
So Dark Seal, as everyone knows, stacks with assists and kills. And so you're going to see him get AP essentially in scale with an item like that. It's going to feed into Medjor's Soul Stealer, right? Heavy AP item, heavy scaling item to boot. And so we have, the Craftinator up in the top lane. Like we said, we have Big Daddy Bard in our mid. Poro in a box in our jungle, now pathing towards bot. 67, our ADC.
Kevin, I'm always with you.
And Dr. Kennan, his best friend in lane, right?
Exactly. We already are seeing this early poking from the Karma. You see it healed up now on the Ezreal, but just a second ago, Ezreal was missing. Another chunk just got blown out of Ezreal, as you can see. This Karma poke is no joke early on.
And that Karma poke potential, especially with the weapon swap with... Oh, shoot, I forgot.
With Aphelios?
Aphelios is going to put a lot of pressure on DePaul's bot lane. And it's going to force them to kind of make plays, if you will.
We do see, actually, now you mention it, an early gank from the Lee Sin coming in.
And that's
MTU sees it, Nautilus with the hook, but 67 just flashes out of it.
And you're going to see them wanting to do that because they're going to want to stabilize the lane. But you're going to see them get chunked out just because...
The rebuttal from Aphelios is just insane.
Yeah,
it really is. We saw another Karma-empowered Q going in, just dealing that damage over time, no matter what that Lee Sin early shield is.
And they don't have that presence enough to reset the wave. So you're going to see them push the tower, and then Ivor's in bot lane to support. So you're going to see him try to invade and figure out where Lee Sin is. But you should be seeing our bot lane either go
they're going for the first
aggressive.
one. Karma ignites and gets the kill on the tower dive. Karma with another kill on that Dark Seal.
Yes, and so Karma has now 2 stacks, which is going to make this Dark Seal just very difficult
We
to
do
lane
see an
against.
actual gank from Ivern coming in, potentially for this kill on the Ezreal. He corners him behind turret. Autos, he has not thrown out his Q yet. Ivern trying to get the slow on his burst, gets the flash from the Ezreal. The Ivern just 2 autos away, does not get it, takes the tower damage and walks away.
And so you saw him trying to put that bush down, and that bush, right, as soon as Ivern enters the bush, he's able to, right?
He gains range. He
Yes.
becomes a ranged champion once he gets into the bush, yes.
And so now that they're not able to take him down, you're going to see them try to clear this wave. And it looks like Kevin or 67 has taken Cole, which is going to give him a huge scaling advantage. Extra gold, right? Extra items. But we're going to see probably the potential of them backing off, going back to Nexus, and then setting up for this dragon objective.
For those of you who don't know, Cole gives you an extra gold per minion kill, and when you do hit that 100 CS spot with it, you do get an extra 350 gold, I believe.
Yep.
And that's a full kill's worth of gold onto that ADC once he hits 100 CS.
So that's going to be the power spike 67 is going to be looking for. Because that 350 gold will get him to finish a tier on his item. We do have a gold bounty on Dr. Kennan.
I'm telling you, it's the Dark Seal. He's got his eyes on the kills now. He's bloodthirsty Karma. There's nothing scarier. Karma did build the Hextech Alternator just to do that little bit more damage on those pokes.
Yes, and so he's building into his first tier item.
Oh, yeah.
So we see we have our support have our first tier item. We see 67 who's got boots now, right? So he's going to get attack speed and movement speed. And so bot is kind of broken, at least on the side of DePaul, and it's going to be a real struggle for them to get back in this game.
There is a 1.7k lead already 5 minutes in on the side of MTU, and you can see based on the gold that Karma has the 1,000 gold lead over the opposing Nautilus.
And not only that, you can see a 500 gold lead with Aphelios over Ezreal. So you've got about 1,500 gold sitting in the bot lane for MTU.
Exactly. We actually are seeing another gank coming in from the Ivern onto the Ezreal and Nautilus. It's a very hard lane to gank because they both have their escapes. The root comes in on the Nautilus. Nautilus trying to stay behind, trying to CC as many as he can for the Ezreal to get out. Ezreal already used his blink. Aphelios using his red Q on him to get the kill. That's one down for Aphelios. Aphelios going in for the second with a double kill for 67 down in the bot lane.
And now we have Lee Sin coming in to try to stabilize the lane and set up for objective, but they're just going to back and be able to contest this dragon. And really the gold advantage is going to be on the side of MTU, and there's really not much DePaul can do to kind of stabilize the already hemorrhaging bot lane.
Oh, just with those 2 more assists and the Karma adds 2 more stacks on that Dark Seal. We love to see that.
And so Dark Steel does go up to 20 stacks, and once you get up to 20 stacks, you're pretty much a menace wherever you tend to roam. And with an early roaming Karma, it really opens the map and lets MTU basically dominate at any point in the game and in any lane.
Now, I'm going to have to eat my words here because we are seeing an early steal of the Dragon. MTU does not know that they are there.
And the big thing for me is I think they're going to be giving
We
up
see the ult
this
coming in
early-
from, sorry, it's from Zach. Sorry, this just happened. I didn't think it would be this much of a fight without, or this early in the game, but we just saw Zach ulting in. But that magic shield coming in on the Camille did save her life.
It did, and they walked away with a Fire Dragon, which is going to give them AP and AD. But the big thing for me is that those early objectives aren't going to really matter, nor bring the gold advantage back, right? Because we're seeing almost a 3k gold lead on the side of MTU, and you're going to really see them roam up to this Rift Herald, which is just going to only secure that lead even more.
If you think about it like this, that early AP and APD damage is worth a little bit in items of gold. But for that double kill just happened bot lane of the Aphelios, he definitely gained at least double that in value in gold.
Yeah, and so one thing you're going to really see that MTU needs to do is just play it patient, right? They don't need to make big plays to keep that advantage. And you're just going to see that gold lead go from 3K to 5K to 7K.
And just grows and grows and
we're
grows.
And we're going to see game one essentially on the side of MTU. And really, DePaul has to kind of figure out what they're going to do next to kind of change the narrative of the story, if you will.
We are seeing this early rotation coming in with the bot lane and top lane flipping on the MTU side to hope that they can grab this Rift Herald early.
And that's kind of what we were talking about, right? That early Rift Herald that has just more monumental kind of game advantage. And so you've got 3 people on the side of MTU securing this Rift Herald. And then we still have yet to see Aurelian
right.
Soul or Craftinator come down to kind of help out with his Rift Herald.
We do see 4 DePaul students or athletes around the Rift Herald. I did not see who actually got that smite off bat. I believe MTU did get it. 67 getting a kill on the Lee Sin, trying to get in and steal that Rift Herald. We see Aurelian Soul slowly moving in. The ulti coming in. Oriana with the ult pulling in 4 MTU students. Camille going back in saying, nope, that Aphelios is mine, putting her in the box.
And that's where you're going to see a good gold advantage on the side of DePaul. Just from that fight alone, you're going to see bounties being claimed on the Aurelian Soul, or on the Aphelios. The problem is that MTU was able to secure that Rift Herald. So essentially, they can drop it anywhere on the map and get 400 gold.
Yeah. The thing is, though, the Camille got the shutdown. And that's terrifying if you're a squishy like an ADC.
It is terrifying, but I do see the value in it. I don't know if Camille's going to be rotating to another lane. I think it's just going to be more of Aphelios coming top to match the Camille and essentially reclaim that gold advantage.
We do see that Ivern did pick up the eye in the end, so he can drop that in any lane that he does see fit. We see the Zac jumping in on the Ezreal. He does hit the Q. He does hit the Q. He hits the ult on the Ezreal. He does not have enough damage to secure it out. Nala's coming in to hit the doubles on the Zac. Zac just has to back out so he does not get slowly shredded down by Ezreal.
And we talked about this earlier. Zac has great potential to escape any kind of gank lane presence.
We did just see that Rift Herald charge in that top side lane, only getting 1.5 plates total off the actual charge, but on the push they did successfully pull 2 plates.
And realistically, you're going to see top turret down to what, 2 plates? Like 1.5?
Mm-hmm. We do see the Karma going all in on to the Camille, but it's not enough. The jump away is just too much of a distance to go.
And so when you're looking at the plate awareness around the map, essentially, you're going to see MTU taking top turret. And what's going to be the answer from DePaul University, right? Do they have enough advantage stack in the bot lane?
That Zac has enough health and enough defenses to stay alive in these and just match the DePaul's bot lane and just not let them get plates right now.
And so you're really seeing them just edge out that advantage, right? We started out with a 3K advantage, and now we're almost up to 4K.
MTU does take the first turret and only having bot lane with only 1 plate left.
And so you really have kind of presence all over the map. You're going to make DePaul either focus on top or bot, and you're going to give advantage to MTU to push out those side lanes and then do what they do best, secure mid lane, secure objectives, and win the game.
Even with that shutdown, MTU is just making their gold lead more known. We're seeing at 11 minutes a 4K gold difference lead, 2 of that being only in the ADCs alone.
And great play by Craftinator to put pressure on this bottom turret and secure it, and then just back off.
Exactly. I fully agree. Even though they do have the Nautilus and the Lee Sin back here. Oh, the Ezreal has roamed down too. We see MTU's Karma and Aphelios coming down, but DePaul does not want any of that fight right now.
And they're going to see it because of Scuttle for sure, but there's not really, if you look at items, if you look at positioning, there's not much that the DePaul can do to match, and they're going to give this Ocean Drake up to MTU.
Now, if you're Zac and you see that Ocean Drake, you're going to be the happiest man in the world. That percent health regen on a tank like Zac helps him with his passive, helps him with a little bit of everything.
And that is a very desirable dragon, but I would say arguably one of the worst dragons in League of Legends.
We do see the Daisy coming in, Ivern rooting the Oriana, using his chakrams on it, but it is Box stealing the kill from Aphelios.
And just like I was saying, the next dragon that's up, Cloud Drake, probably one of the worst dragons in the game.
So actually, I would have some friends that disagree with you, but I still have memories from when the Ocean Dragon was first introduced, was the most overpowered thing in the world.
It used to be. It used to be
I
very
do
strong.
agree that has been tuned way down.
And so I remember when Dragon changes first came, and actually they wanted to introduce Hex Tech and Kim Tech, and Kim Tech was just super OP. It gave you invisibility
when they introduced
in
the Chemtech the first time they tried introducing it. Which one was it, Chemtech or Hextech, that lets you basically have an old Yorick ult where you just came back to life for a little bit?
So that was Chemtech, and it also gave you invisibility in the jungle.
I did not. I stopped playing League for about 2 months when that was in the preseason, so I don't have much memory of that time.
And the big thing for me is that was actually during our playoffs about 2 years ago.
Really?
When they introduced all of that. But back to the action kind of on the behalf of MTU and DePaul.
We see that chunk from Karma taking out, what was that, a third of Ezreal's health right then and there?
And I mean, that's just going to be that Dark Seal that we talked about, right? It's got 6 stacks. It's going to have huge poke potential. And you're going to really give it up to Aphelios to kind of be able to whittle those people down that are hit by Karma.
You are seeing the Zac stand way out of position, but it does not matter, because even if the Nautilus tries to hook upwards and the Camille CC, he's not going to go down.
And it's really interesting, this itemization from MTU, right? We have Zac getting set by Arcade, right? So he's not built into his legendary yet. We
are seeing a quick little 1v1 from the Zac and the Camille. We see the benefits of that Camille's second Q, pure damage onto the Zac. We have Ivern roaming up to try and hopefully shield and save that Zac. At the same time, we see a tower dive coming in with the Aphelios, but the Aphelios stays alive and stays safe. I take that back. Orianna kills him with the ult in the backline. But we're still seeing this 1v2 going through, and Poro in a box coming in to save the Zac in the top lane.
And you're going to see wonderful action coming from Daisy. Daisy is a great addition to any team fight and could very easily change the way that a team fight's going to either happen or not happen.
Speaking about Daisy, we're seeing Daisy and Ivern, Zac just joined them, but just soloing the Rift Herald essentially. Being able to have that melee for Ivern, who's not the tankiest champion in the world, just be able to tank all those hits just in case if the other jungler came in.
And realistically, you have presence mid, you have presence on Rift Herald, you have real total map control from the side of MTU. And the score line for kills at least being 7-3. We're tied at dragons apiece, but we have 2 Rift Heralds on the side of MTU. And this is just going to precipitate a huge gold advantage and a huge early scaling lead into the late game.
So this is a really good demonstration, in my opinion. I don't want to say in understanding the game, but understanding how to slowly build up that gold lead and how to further it. There's only a 4-kill difference on in favor of MTU, but there is a nearly 6K gold difference on this map right now.
And that's just going to show you how league items or how league objectives are rated differently, right? You're going to see only a difference of 4 kills, where in some games that would mean that the other team is not too far out of the lead. But the gold advantage is going to be so significant, you're going to be a full item or an item and a half above your opponents. It's going to make it really difficult to fight, especially when you can't get to those backline ADCs or carries and kind of change the damage that they're basically putting out on the map.
Exactly. We are seeing again this Zac being able to to tank all these Camille second Qs and the Lee Sin coming in to try and deal some damage or get an early gank. Zac just jumps away and just regains his health from his passive.
And that's all MTU really needs to do, is they just need to stay away from fighting until they're ready and then control the tempo on the map. And
they're looking for that route from the Ivern Poro in a box, as you can see just from them going back and forth on screen. If they would have hit that route, I have no doubt that they probably would have tried to pull Daisy out and gone for an engage there.
I think that it's really wise right now to put a lot of poke damage out on the field, is you're going to see essentially them preparing for that dragon, which is going to be about 13 seconds out. And realistically...
Ooh. I think Zac might have bit too much than he can chew, but the CC and the tanky for his picking up the blobs is just too much.
And that's what it comes down to, having that fundamental gold and item advantage. If we look back at the items in the game, we're going to see that Zac now has Bramble. And so he's really building into a second item, and he's able to match that damage that Camille can put out.
We are seeing 4 members from DePaul getting into this bush right outside of Pixel Bush. Karma trying to fish out where they are. They're not there, Karma, but it's going to be definitely going to be another fight for this dragon.
And let's see if MTU can't
we do
bait
see
out
the
a fight
poke from Karma
turret.
onto it. Lee Sin jumping behind the Aphelios, ulting him in. Aphelios hitting the ult with his lifesteal. It's not enough. Lee Sin takes down 67.
And you're going to see
Nace flashing over the wall, getting united. Karma bringing him down as well. Zac trying to tower dive with his jump. Not enough damage going through. Daisy goes down to tower as well. And I think it's a disengage from MTU. But a 1-for-1 nonetheless.
And what really secured the team fight for them is that they had people teleporting in. And so the teleports went down, and they were really ready for this. So yeah, they did lose the Aphelios, but they didn't lose dragon advantage.
I don't think Lee Sin knows that Aurelion Sol is there. I think he just might have blind queued over the wall. I don't think it's enough, and Big Daddy Bard does take down the Lee Sin for going for Grump.
And that's going to be huge because now you've taken the smite off the map for the objective.
For another 20 seconds on the objective.
Yes. And so you've only either secured side lane pushes,
which is happening right now because Aurelion Sol is an amazing wave clear.
Or
and he gets away to go help with the dragon.
Yeah, and I mean, like, he could fly.
Yeah.
He could fly.
We're talking about these roaming mid laners right before the game. This is exactly why they're so beneficial.
And so you're going to see that Rift Herald just casually walk to bot-sized turret.
And that does preoccupy both Nautilus and Ezreal. And I believe that Herald will get a charge off. No, he does not. He only feasts for the hunger of minions.
And either way, if it would have gotten a charge off, that would have been great. But I think the advantage there would have been, we want this dragon, and it's definitely ours.
And we don't want anyone near it. Not even Ezreal ult thinking about it.
And that's really great because you could see that gold advantage now almost to like 8K.
20 minutes, almost an 8K gold advantage. That is, again, exponential as we were talking earlier as they just let it grow and grow.
And so realistically, we're going to see scuttles being taken, so that's great map presence. And realistically, we're looking for that next big team fight, Baron coming up in 25 seconds, to really see who's going to come out here at game 1.
We also do see Aphelios picking up his Mythic finally as a second item. Very good. He does need that movement that item does provide.
And so you're going to really see bot now has both Mythics. And I really don't think Iron Locket or Trinity Force are really going to beat Gale Force and I can't remember what that last item is, but I think it's like Night Stalker.
It's Harvest. It is Night Harvester.
Okay, so I was close. I said Night Stalker, but essentially it's going to give him a huge AP and AD advantage when it taking not only objectives, but being that front to back line engage against the other team.
We do see the Lee Sin starting Baron to see if that MTU is still there. Sadly they were, and the MTU was not able to fully claim that Baron for themselves, just had to back away because they knew that a lot of DePaul were still there in that jungle.
And realistically, we're looking for a bait here. I think MTU is looking to bait out that Baron essentially and see if DePaul will challenge. And it's going to be really exciting to see if they come in for this fight.
Especially with those Ivern bushes trying to block off vision. MTU does start Baron. All of DePaul is still trying to gather around. That Aphelios damage is ticking down Baron, already at half health. Karma pulling off that Camille, trying to keep her off of Aurelion Sol ult coming in, pulling out the Nace, is getting the kill. Zach getting the kill into the Nautilus, sorry. Zach does get kicked away from Lee Sin, so the ult does not affect the Ezreal, trying to stay alive. Big Daddy Bard on the Aurelion Sol, starting to move forward towards the Camille, but she's too far jumping forward. Zach does knock up, and Big Daddy Bard taking the claim onto Orianna. Aphelios is not done swinging for that Camille, and he does get the kill.
And so that's what we were talking about, that bait on Baron, because it forced them to fight, and now it's basically 3 kills for 0.
We still see the Zach chasing away the Lee Sin and the Ezreal, making sure they stay miles away from that Baron, because we still have all 5 members of MTU up. The only hope is that Lee Sin takes the steal. Karma pushing away the Lee Sin. She does so much damage with her AP. She's about to 1v1 the Lee Sin. If she has one more Q up in time, he shields himself, and now it's coming in for the CC. Karma, Ezreal ult coming in. Karma does get the kill onto the Lee Sin. She has to Hourglass, misses her Q, missing the damage, does get to root the Ezreal. She is distracting everybody that's up on the side of DePaul. She has not fallen yet. That Karma movement speed on the shield is saving her life, allowing her a Soul to come up and get the kill on the Ezreal, but Nautilus getting the kill on Karma. Big Day Bar just gets out for free.
And realistically, he lost 4 stacks, but what did he gain? He gained 300 gold.
Everybody on the team 300 gold.
And so realistically, right, we're going to see Craftinator starting to build his legendary at some point.
We do see the Ivern pour in a box, might be getting caught out here. Thinking too deep by trying to counter jungle a little bit. The Ezreal is slowly autoing. The Camille trying to get the kill, but the Orianna actually gets the kill. Sorry, Orianna, not Ezreal in that fight.
And that's really unfortunate, right? We would have liked to keep the Ivern up, but I don't think it's that pivotal. I think it just allows them opportunity to reset, regroup, and kind of push the objectives and play basically their tempo of League of Legends.
Yes, when MTU is in the driver's seat, that is when they excel best. I know that sounds kind of funny. It's like, what team isn't? But I don't think they're more of a reactionary style team. I do believe they love to be in the driver's spot and say, hey, this is my game, and I'm going to show you why this is my game.
And realistically, we got a fight breaking out here in the bot lane.
But Zach's just too tanky. You see all that damage from the Aphelios ult coming in, And he tries to hit the sniper shot onto Lee Sin, but barely misses. Zach has to back up because he sees Nace coming in. And I think it's going to be MTU, a little bit of a retreat. Karma knowing she has the movement speed with her shield just to break out some wards and clear some vision.
And clearing vision is always helpful, right? If the enemy can't see where you are, you're going to always be able to be in a good spot to kind of take advantage and push those side lanes and get people to be in places they're not supposed to be.
We see good use of that Gale Force from 67, dodging that Nautilus pull that surely would have meant death from the Orianna.
And realistically, this demolish on this turret is going to send not only the turret into the nether realm, but
turret shot coming in, killing the Aphelios. Orianna claiming that kill, and offside on the brawl as Camille 1v1ing mid lane Big Daddy Bard. Turret does go down on the side of St. Paul, and MTU is slowly pushing. Orianna and Nautilus too low to fight any further. Ezreal trying to just take down these Baron buff cannon minions.
And you're going to see them group up, get that Karma speed boost, and kind of just get out because you're not going to see Lee Sin challenge into 4 of them.
All right, we do see now that DePaul knows that Feos is down, Aurelion Sol is down, the major damage dealers are down. They're going to come and try and take this Baron with no rebuttal. Lee Sin going in on the Daisy, but he does have teammates and wards on the inside to easily come in and smite this dragon.
And what's really good for this is not only did DePaul get the jungle, or get the dragon, but they also got the gold bounty.
They got a couple gold bounties on the ADC and the mid laner for MTU. We do see teleport. Big Daddy Bard is in. Lee Sin immediately jumps on, and Big Daddy Bard going right into the bushes where Camille is. That Camille damage on her second Q, as I've been saying, is very deadly. Towards the end of laning phase, we saw how much damage it did to Zach. Imagine how much it does onto a mage like Aurelion Sol. We do see Zach going in for the kills over here, ulting in, knocking back Lee Sin. The entire time Camille is taking damage from Aurelion Sol. 67 getting the kill onto Camille, ulting in, getting the kill onto Lee Sin. That's 2. Can he go for 3? Aurelion Sol and Ezreal both running away. That is going to be an inhibitor turret for MTU.
And you love the bait from Craftinator, right? Giving up that passive so that 67 can get the double kill.
Exactly. He's Zach. When he comes back from that, if a couple blobs are still up with his health, he's going to have at least 1 to 1.5k health.
And so realistically, free inhib, and they're going to basically go back to base and kind of enjoy the rest of the game.
So we're just talking about gold leads throughout this entire game. It is now a 10k gold lead. Oh, I just hit the wrong button. I'm sorry. 1 second, everybody. There we go. And we can kind of see that almost every single player on MTU is up gold. And I'm talking on across the board more than 1k except for in the mid lane.
And realistically, you're going to see like good CS control. If you look at Aphelios, he has 224 CS to 181.
Should have bought a second Cole.
We have a huge gold lead in that bot lane by at least 50 CS, and that's going to be 2 kills independently. And then we see the Ezreal being 0, 2, and 5. So Aphelios 6, 3, and 5. That's going to be
a little
hard
scary.
fed for sure.
We do see that he's actually 4,000 gold up on the enemy team's Ezreal.
And that's a situation you don't want to be in because you can look at the items, and he has 3 completed items building his 4th.
With the BF sword as his next item, which is another 1.3 thousand.
And that advantage is going to carry over, and it's going to be really hard for DePaul to break.
All right, we do see Big Daddy Bard stepping up to wave. He does not know Mystics and Sorry All Me is going in. Camille comes in with the ulti. Ult coming down from Big Daddy Bard, but he's trapped in the box. Camille taking him out.
And so much damage went on to Big Daddy Bard and that Aurelion Sol, but
we do see the Zach coming in for the CCM. Sorry for interrupting. We do see 67 coming in with the ult. He does have both chakrams up and a lifesteal. It's his best combo he's got. He does get the pick. He does get the second kill, and he does get a triple kill for 67.
And that triple kill is going to allow them to push the side lane and be a huge presence on the map.
It is for a trade, though. We do see on the other side, DePaul does get the outer mid turret. For an inner side lane turret, though, I believe the gold is a lot more for that side turret.
It is, not only that, but it's going to give huge push potential. It's going to make them kind of be on the defense for a lot more of the game than they would like.
Yes. And you see, even just because they know it's just Ezreal here, Zach can push him off and just hold this push. It's going to be a second inhibitor for MTU.
And with a second inhibitor comes more presence, and you're going to see sorry about that. The results of the game, hopefully not, but
Nope, I clicked it before we even saw the results. It's okay.
but realistically, we've got 2 inhibitors, and we have a huge mid presence. So it's going to come down to realistically one more team fight.
AP Karma still bewilders me how Enchanter support can do so much damage.
And you're going to see him actually get that Soul Stealer up to 15 stacks. That's a lot of AP.
We do see the Lee Sin coming in from the side, hoping he can get a side pick, trying to find a squishy if he can. Seeing the Karma, he does go in on the ult, he does get the Q, he does ride the wave. Karma trying to latch onto him, saying, nope, you're all mine, regaining the health from Redemption and her Q's second passive coming in. Early in the Soul, diving back to his team so that he can stay in the backside a little bit. Zach going in on the Nautilus, Nautilus dodging completely. The Camille getting also as far away as possible as she can away from the Aurelian Soul. Big Daddy Bard still stepping up with Daisy on even ground. And we are seeing MTU group fully up as a team. Zach still jumping face first in the bushes they have no vision in. I love to see that from a Zach.
And realistically, it's coming down to what I said, right? One last team fight. And realistically, MTU is such a huge poke advantage. You're gonna see him force this Baron fight, and we'll see what happens.
They have the damage, they have the items, they just need Baron, and they can probably, honestly in my opinion, run it down mid. I'm talking all 5 down mid because both side lanes are pushing. Camilla's trying to stop that push, but Big Daddy Bard is waiting. This Bush does get the Q off into Mystics. Mystics with his shields just too much. Big Daddy Bard does get the pick onto Mystics. Big Daddy Bard flying back to his team in the Baron pit. Ivern taking the pick onto Baron at the same time, getting the kill on Lee Sin. 2 are down on the side of DePaul, and none for the side of MTU.
And that Baron buff's going to be huge.
We see that instant teleport from Zach actually on the bot side to push those super minions into the base. And we see Wave is pushing in the mid lane for MTU.
And you're going to see them just come back with teleport, right? So they can have that instant presence, like 4-second recall from Baron's buff, and then teleport right back into a fight, secure that realistically easy Ezreal kill, and then what can DePaul do?
That Zach just, with how much health he has and his passes back up, he has the ability just to permanently CC 1, maybe even 2 members of DePaul. And he's under a turret, it's like he's taking no damage. And it's just
It's
crazy.
remarkable what the gold advantage can give you and how hard it is for a team to crawl back with such a distinct advantage of 5K across the board.
We do see with his advance in gold advantage, the MTU will take out the end of game 1. A little bit of playing around.
Sure, and I mean, and DePaul, they did a good job, right? It was just those were 2 different team comps, and sometimes when you have a poke comp into a front and back, it's hard to get in that back line and really flesh out the other team.
Exactly. I think just that gold advantage going on and on was very good for the MTU side. And just personally, I think MTU's ability, without even getting kills, again, because me, a lower elo person trying to go up, I'm like, oh, you have all this gold, but where are you getting it from? It's all that, this the little things that add up in the end, whether it's CS or the turret platings that like the bot lane rotate to get both turret plates on the bot side and top side. It's all those little things adding up.
And you really saw MTU take advantage of those little things, right? One of the biggest things for me that I always tell players is that those little things, those small mistakes are going to lead to huge advantages later on, and they're going to be almost that quasi-butterfly effect, right? A small mistake here is going to have a big impact 20 minutes down the road.
Exactly, but I also think a game like that does take a little bit of mental energy away from DePaul. I understand what it's like to be in like a multi-game series, whether positive or negative, but just the defeat you can have if you just see it slowly building throughout the game, and just everywhere you go, you're getting stomped, and just the mental that has on you.
Yes, and it's going to be really hard to bring back that tempo. And so what we're gonna see from DePaul is really looking at what they can do to kind of challenge that front to back comp. And who knows? MTU might not be going with the front to back into game 2. They might change it up altogether. So it's really hard on the behalf of DePaul to kind of understand or see what's going to be happening into game 2 without knowing what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very difficult. I do think I'm going to see a early and soul ban this game. I'm not going to lie to you.
All right, and with that, we're going to head into intermission and get ready for game 2.
Your style, University Images is your official headquarters for authentic Michigan Tech Huskies apparel. University owned, university operated, University Images, located in the SDC, or go to bookstore.mtu.edu. I'm here for 5 years and I still haven't bought a hockey jersey. That's still a sin to me.
Well, with hockey season around the corner, you can go to University Images and pick you up one.
Exactly.
Real quickly, a shout out to all of our alumni in the chat. We're certainly happy to see all of our alumni participating, and most importantly, go Huskies.
Go Huskies. I will say that till the day I die.
And realistically, going from game 1 to game 2, DePaul here has to change something fundamentally.
We were just saying at the last draft, we were just saying that MTU had an amazing front line to back line draft, and DePaul didn't really. They had they drafted to find picks, and MTU with their sideliners like Zach would not be able to give picks.
The big thing for me though is that realistically, pick comps are not going to work well into this bot lane, and so DePaul is going to have to either A, play a front to back comp, which they may or may not be comfortable with, or B, rethink their strategy and come up with a poke comp or pick comp, if you will, that's going to really challenge MTU at a fundamental level, especially over objective control.
Do you think that they will be banning the Soul or the Talia this time around? Because I've always seen it one or the other in case of Big Daddy Bard.
So what we're going to see here is, I think, a lot less top bans, and they're going to be looking more at mid or bot bans. So you're going to see a ban from the Aphelios, you're going to see a ban for the Soul, a Talia, and maybe sprinkled in with a couple of jungle picks in between.
I have seen Pornobox excel exceedingly with his two main picks that he loves to go to for like pocket picks, which is the Viego and the Nocturne.
And realistically, what we're going to see from MTU, I really think we're going to see the Jarvan. I think the Jarvan's going to be in this game. I think we're gonna have an Ashe.
I think we will be seeing an Ivern ban. If not, that's going to be picked up right away again because we saw that being first pick last game. I think we're going to see it first pick again if it gets through the first phase of banning.
And really, I'd like to see a support Alistar.
Ooh, Alistars are getting back in the meta recently, I've noticed.
And paired with a good ADC like Ashe, you're going to see them be somewhat of an untouchable bot lane.
The CC chains alone would terrify me.
And, I mean, I don't think they're going to ban Nico again. What are your thoughts?
I don't think Nico is going to be an immediate ban as well. The main reason being there's already so many scary support champions that will go along with many of the ADCs that Kevin or 67 likes to play.
And that's really is the crux of the problem is how do you ban out someone who has such a large champion pool?
So I was in a Clash game, or this like one or two clashes ago, first time I played Clash in about a year, and we noticed that lo and behold, there was a Smurf on the other team. It happens. The way we knew this was we saw they only had like less than 20 games played, past level 30 and such, but they were the crux of the team, only playing Vayne to only enchanting supports, and we're like, let's pull out all of his crutches. Let's pull out all the enchanting supports. It turns out we should have just banned the Vayne. We got smoked by the Vayne.
And realistically, I would love to see an All-Star, but I think bot lane is going to really pull out another mage, and we're going to see really ADC mage support on both sides. And that's going to really fundamentally change the tempo of the game.
So I do see a Zac ban coming in the side of DePaul, and we do see the Orianna ban on the side of MTU. Orianna was a little thorn in their side that entire game just because of the range of the ultimate and the Qs have.
Yes, and she provides shielding to her team as well as a great disengage. I'm still surprised by the Nico ban. I understand that she could be a menace because she could look like a minion, and then, we've got a team fight that breaks out.
What started throwing me off was after she got changed a little, the very short duration until her knockup activates on her ult. That can surprise a team fight if you don't have many quick movements in the champions.
Yeah, so that's going to really bring into a struggle, essentially, those ADCs that can't move very quickly. So like your Ashe, your Misfortune that have no real potential for escape.
Or the Aphelios before Gale Force.
Precisely. And you're going to see we got a lot of interesting picks. We got that first pick, Ivern. We got a Maokai, which can be top or jungle.
I can see that actually going support to go so well with the Jhin as well, though.
Yep. And then so we have kind of like we had last game a pairing of jungle support ADC on both sides. And Braum, he's going to be really tanky and really disengage heavy in the bot lane. Kog'Maw with great 80 scaling. He's going to be a nuisance. And the Zillion. I haven't seen Zillion in ages.
I have not seen a Zillion in this high elo of pro play in a second. I do see why to pair it up with the Jhin for the perma CC, or even if you hit him with a bomb before it explodes, is a good route. And I do see it with the revives on whatever DePaul chooses to pick in the next round. But I love it when a Braum's picked, but I love it especially when you're versing a Jhin. Half those abilities, no longer there.
And so Zillion provides XP,
Mm-hmm.
right? He provides movement speed, so escapability and disengage, right? And resurrection. So we got some bans coming up, and we have the two mid laners. We have the Talia and the Aurelion Sol.
I said, what are they going to do? One or the other, and they chose both.
And they're going to try to take away that roaming mid option. And roaming mids have been a presence and a nuisance in League of Legends forever. There actually used to be a broken water walking ability with Ryze. When he took the rune water walking, he could infinitely stack it by walking in the river and walking back into lane and doing that repeatedly. And it was so bad they had to actually ban it for Worlds.
Huh. I was wondering why whenever Worlds happened, one or 2 years, we saw Ryze is disabled.
And so that's why. And so one team actually did pick it, and they actually, I think, got DQ'd from Worlds, and the player got fined. But the Pantheon, that's an interesting pick.
Is being hovered, and it is picked in by MTU. And I will note, the one-time set is not banned. It is picked on the side of DePaul as well. And we do see the double Bruiser/Assassin, however you want to pull him, the Pantheon Nefiri sides.
So you're going to see Nefiri go into mid, and you can see Pantheon take top.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're gonna have a lot of poke, a lot of engage, and realistically, how is DePaul gonna answer this with a set?
So my first thoughts when I see this in the team comp is, where's the AP? I understand Kog'Maw is the AP, and there is a Veigar being picked on the side of DePaul.
And I guess that's to stop Nefiri because of a lot of her abilities send her
The hounds, the
hounds,
dogs.
the hounds in. But I don't think it's gonna be kind of something that's going to answer back to how aggressive Nefiri can be in the mid lane as well as a roaming mid. And realistically, the range on her ult and the ability for her to engage is going to be a very big, heavy advantage for the side of MTU.
I do have a little counterpoint in the favor of DePaul with this Veigar pick. If you look at the side of MTU, Kog'Maw, until they activate that ability that makes his range longer, is a mid-range ADC. And then if you look at down the line, MTU is all mid or hyper close range. That Veigar cage is going to be dangerous on engages.
And it will be. But it's interesting to see if Veigar does actually go into the mid lane or it's Veigar support. And Zillion's in the mid lane.
So the thing is with Veigar support is to get stacks, Veigar just has to hit his abilities on champions. It can be the stun. It can be the damage. It just has to hit enemies.
And realistically, so you can see him be very flexible and go anywhere, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be Zillion support.
I am also 99% sure that will happen as well. I do see the Veigar pick into the Fury being very beneficial, because I don't know if the Veigar Q one-shots those minions or not.
Not until he's put significant stacks into his ability.
I haven't versed too many Nefiris personally. Is that kind of like the Yorick thing where if you auto them once, they auto die, and then they have health other than that?
Yes.
Okay.
So Nefiri's dogs have independent health, and you usually can't kill them on one auto.
Okay.
And so realistically, you're going to see hound control is going to be something that the person, whoever is facing the Nefiri, is going to have to think about, because her ultimate gives her 3 additional hounds and has all the hounds attack the marked player.
Okay. I have seen Nefiri be done very, very well. And it can quickly get out of hand, especially now, actually, that I see probably why Nefiri was picked. The back line is very squishy. The ADCs in the late game don't normally build health items. The Zillion might build 1 or 2, and the Veigar is going to get a little thicker, but the Nefiri will definitely be doing damage in that back line.
And a little side note, one of our players, Oblivionize, is actually the #1 ranked Nico in North America.
Really?
So that's probably why you're seeing a lot of Nico bans, is because he's very confident in not only his play style, but the fact that he is the #1 North American Nico. And Nico is not an easy champion to learn. Nico's very difficult. A lot of what her kit is requires skill shotting and kind of knowledge of the bot lane and map awareness. And realistically, it's a surprising flex to be #1 in the North America
Yeah.
for any champion.
So some people, they can be like, "Oh, I can just pick up Nico, hit a root, hit a Q." Yes, but the skill ceiling to be a Nico player is phenomenal. It's extraordinarily high. It's very hard to get to master this champion.
And that's kind of what you'll see that separates a lot of players, is you'll see a lot of players are either, right, jack of all trades and masters of none, or they really want to hard focus on that one champion that's going to be their difference maker, where it be Nico, Pantheon, Aphelios, whoever that is, and that's going to be the one character that's going to take them into kind of higher elo, master, grandmaster, challenger kind of play styles.
Yes, and I fully agree with what you had just said, especially with a champion like Nico, where if you learn every single little thing that makes that champion tick, it's going to make the world of a difference in every single game you play.
And it's no different than, like, for example, different games than Smash. What is your main, right, and how do you play it? And you're going to look for, do you know the Nico matchups, right? How does she play into Nautilus? How does she play into Zillion? How does she play into all these other potential supports that could realistically just make you have a bad day if you don't know the matchup?
I want to bring our attention a little bit to this top lane matchup. Now that Zach hasn't been picked, we're seeing a Set versus a Pantheon. I can't remember off the top of my head if Pantheon counters the Set in any way, because I know Pantheon counters other carry top lanes like Darius, so you can get nice and hugging them inside the queues. You can do all these different things to avoid the damages of the passives and such. But I can't remember the Pantheon versus Set setups.
So you're going to see Pantheon have a lot of poke potential, right? So you can keep kind of Pantheon in range and just make top an island, right? Because if you force Set to just scale, it's going to be really boring. And so you give a lot of potential for the Ivern to come reset the wave or even gank your lane. And I will tell you, as a top laner, right, there's nothing more frustrating when a jungle sets up a tent in your lane and there's really not much you can do.
We were just talking about roaming mids last game, but let's talk about roaming mids and roaming tops without even using teleport.
Yeah, and you're gonna get a huge map advantage. The only problem that I see is that if the Zillion is mid, that the Zillion will be able to match that roam potential.
That is a very important factor as well. Zillions, especially with their speed buff, are very, very good roaming supports.
And we're gonna see it out now. Viger is going into that mid role.
That's what I like
Zillion
to see.
is in the bot. So you're gonna see, essentially, it's gonna be a very careful bot fight, because if Zillion can give that XP boost to Jen, and he's able to get 100 health by just increasing in a level, that could easily turn the fight and outpace Kog'Maw and his ability to scale.
Exactly. Preferably with Kog'Maw, I would personally go more Enchanter supports, but I completely see why the Braum was picked. First of all, I don't want to bash the picks or anything, but one of the most menacing things I'll see in almost any elo is a Lulu Kog'Maw. With the passive on top of Kog'Maw's activated ability, in 3 autos, you're down to less than a quarter health.
And Charm is going to make you,
Yes.
make you just have a bad day altogether.
But I think that Braum, with his passive stacked with Kog'Maw's attack speed and damage buff on his, they can stack that passive very fast.
And you're going to see kind of Braum be that, like, get out of jail free card, right? He's going to jump to Kog'Maw, put up his shield, and they're going to walk it back past the minion line and back into safety.
So I'm gonna change our scope of view a little bit over to how I actually brought up last draft, the ultimates, the team fight ultimates, and what kind of threat they can pose. I'm looking over at DePaul right now, and in terms of like game changing or fight changing ultimates, I'm only seeing about 2 of them right now. By that I mean I see the Set damage if he chooses to go on a tank like Braum and throw it into the team, or the Maokai ult that roots essentially at least 2 or 3.
Well, here's the thing: you're gonna have Set come in and be able to haymaker somebody out of the fight, right, and really put a lot of damage onto them. Their really big, heavy engage piece is gonna be that Maokai, right?
Right.
He's gonna send out saplings. He's gonna hit his ult. He's gonna try to trap someone, and you're gonna see Jin try to get that trapped player down and really put a lot of damage downrange really quickly to where they isolate as many people from the MTU side as quickly as possible. But the one thing is, once Jin has his ult, he can't move.
Exactly. If you look over at the MTU side, you have the group knockup and the group slow from Brahms ult into the group AoE, just pure damage from the Pantheon ult coming in, plus stacking on top of that, the Kog'Maw raining down bullets.
And you have Daisy, a really just fundamentally better Tibbers.
It's going to be like a minefield out there, I think, for the Kog'Maw bringing down everything, the Pantheon AoE. There's a bunch of AoE on MTU's side that's looking good for them, but I just don't see the thicker bruisers that we saw last game.
And we talked about the Wombo combos, if you will. And you're going to see Neferi with her 6 wolves. You're going to see the Pantheon ult that's going to knock everyone up. You're going to see the Braum ult that's going to knock everyone up. And you're going to see the Kog'Maw essentially just able to do what Kog'Maw does best and just put damage downrange.
Exactly. The thing is, though, that Kog'Maw, even though he can move in between shots and everything, he is a very vulnerable ADC. He doesn't have the movement. He has a slow in his kit, but it's very hard to get away as a Kog'Maw once you're stuck.
And one of the things that I'd like to point out is that, I mean, that's the Pugma skin, super cute. So we have great skin choices on all players all around. But I have a Golden Lab, and I'll admit the Pugma gets me.
I'll be honest with you. My favorite skin by far, or my favorite series of skins, from it all, is the B skin. The B series, sorry.
Yep, and there's a lot of champions, like, for example, Teemo, BMO, or Oriana has a B skin.
And I love BMaw. I love Bzigs. I think that's my favorite line. It really is. The only one I don't like is Singed, because they made the shield look very weird and obtuse to me.
Gotcha. And so we're not going to see that level 1 engage, because we're going to see it spotted out really quickly.
Yes. Not only just spotted out, I think just the 4 roaming top side, the Maokai knows to show face up here to make sure he can see everything that's going on. Neither team are fully clumping like they were last game.
And I want to say just as a good thing for MTU is a lot of them in their recall have that good conduct badge that that flows around their characters. So not only are they good outside of the game, but they're being great professionals inside the game, and that's really what you want to see from someone who's supporting their university.
Exactly. Like when you just see that Honor 5 as they back, you know you're backing at least a very good product.
And we're going to see how that good product develops into a great game too. And hopefully we don't disappoint with a lot of team fight action.
I am going to mentally note in my head to see if the bot lane for MTU is just having fun by seeing if one of them gets a Zillion bomb and they just go and hug their other laner, sharing the damage.
I think we already saw that early on with Kevin doing a sad B because he got the Kog'Maw bomb.
Ooh, Zillion hitting 2 for 2 on the bombs in the bot lane, but the Braum passive is stacking on the Jhin. That's 3 out of 4. That's 4 out of 4. Good stun and damage on the Kog'Maw, bringing the Jhin down to half health. But the Zillion bringing back the damage, dealing over half health to the Kog'Maw. Again, he has to still get within auto range to auto that Jhin. Gives time for that Zillion to deal that damage.
And you can see he picks it up, and that's that Zillion combo.
Bomb.
So we've got the shield active, but First Blood going to Zillion. And realistically, that First Blood gives Zillion experience that he can share with his bot.
I think that Zillion did not want it, but the fact that they got that in the first place is a very positive thing. That's less XP onto the Kog'Maw. That does give a little bit more to the Braum, but the Kog'Maw is really the one that really wants that majority of XP, because Jin's going to be getting that majority of XP from the Zillion.
And this is one thing we didn't notice, but Kevin's actually Pantheon in the top lane, and they've switched Craftinator to bot. So we have an interesting game here. We have a very exciting game too.
Kevin saw the set, and he's like, hold up. Let me go top lane. I got this, guys. We do see the gatebreaker from Maokai coming in. He does throw I always forget what that's called.
Sapling.
The sapling. It's not a sapling, though. It's a little kitty cat with this skin. But he does throw the sapling, getting the damage on a Pantheon, but he does not get in range of root without going under tower, and those early tower shots are deadly.
And I think the big thing is that Bot just took way too much damage early on by trying to fight into that wave against the Zillion. And Zillion does a lot of starter damage. And he'll scale down for sure, but we don't want to be giving him gold to help him kind of min that scale into the mid game and potentially overtake that MTU side. And they're only up about 100 gold at this moment, regardless of that first kill.
So even though Zillion's only level 1, that Q, the bomb, is on such a low cooldown. But I think Zillion actually procced level 2 in the middle of that fight, so was able to throw down an extra bomb on cooldown during that fight, and that's what really won him the fight.
And that's what we were talking about beforehand, with those XP boosts.
We do see the Ivern trying to get a little too close to this Maokai during it, and with the Jhin picking up the kill. 4 members from DePaul down here in the river, while Ivern only had the Nefiri to help.
And that gave him a huge gold advantage, about 500 gold going into 5 minutes of the game.
We do see a double gank coming on the Zillion and the Maokai speeding into the lane, but it's not enough. Nefiri with the dogs following, making the Zillion deal the damage. That's another thing I didn't even think about. Just stick the bombs onto the dogs.
Yes, and those dogs respawn, right, or regen their health, and so it's really challenging when it comes to Nefiri of what do you target?
I think the best, I know, again, it's still hitting all these skill shots and such, but the Nefiri, right when you see that bomb on your dog, you have to send it away.
And that's really clever thinking of Big Daddy Bard to be able to separate, his dogs from himself, even though they add value and add damage.
We do see a gank coming in. I'm sorry to cut you off. You're just talking while these actions are happening. We do see the gank coming in from pouring a box. That forces the flash from the set. But 67, Kevin does get the kill under tower, just barely in the range of the spear.
And that's what we were talking about, that huge poke damage potential to kind of secure the top lane. And realistically, we see Kevin do what Kevin does best, and essentially really dominate whatever lane he's put in.
We do see actually up in that top lane, we do see that force the teleport from the set because Kevin's just holding wave. He's going to be here for the XP. Both flashes from both top laners is gone. We do see Pornabox staying here to get that CC onto the set. Maokai's here to rebuttal, but I think that set is too deep right now. He's going to try and get the CC on him and Pantheon to get that actual stun. Pantheon trying to get that shield does block all the damage from the set and Maokai combos. Both sides are getting away currently, but the shield is put on the Pantheon, chasing under. Maokai pushes them away, and they both get out scot-free.
The only problem is that you're going to see a great wave freeze on the side of 67 and the poke damage. So you're going to see Maokai try and come back and slow 67 with a sapling, or spend way too much time in the top lane, losing out at XP.
We do see the stun hitting and the ult coming through, hitting into the Maokai. Maokai only has his root and Q to play with, so 67 is getting away without a scratch. We do see the true damage coming in onto Kevin, getting away with that Triumph life gain, getting out with barely 50 health.
And that's really unfortunate because that was a really greedy play, and it seems to have paid off on the side of DePaul.
All right, let's compare a little bit of gold right now, because even though they're 2 kills up, DePaul's only 500 gold up.
And it's really going to come down, as you can see, even in the top lane, the difference of gold is in Kevin's favor, or 67, just because of his ability to control wave and freeze at his side.
Yeah, there's a reason why he is a challenger player.
And realistically, I mean, they're not down and out. We see Craftinator with Cull. We're going to see a lot of ADCs take that. I'm really surprised they went with they didn't go with Cull themselves, and they went essentially an Omnivamped item.
So I do see Doran's Blade actually lately, a lot more lately actually, getting passed up. Ooh, we do see the root and push away from the Maokai. Pantheon ult coming in. They do get the Ivern though, so they have enough damage to take out the Maokai. Pantheon does get the kill onto the Maokai. 67 staying in, trying to get the kill onto the Zillion, flashing away. Pantheon, it's just the Pantheon and the Jin now. Jin wastes, or does not waste. He uses cleanse, but still goes down to 67. 67 getting 2 kills for 1 for MTU.
And we're going to see him pick up that 150 gold bounty. And what I think we're going to see is we're going to see Pantheon and Neferi switch lanes.
Pantheon is a champion that if you let him snowball, it's not that he has infinite stacks, it's that he has such a good kit, he can snowball very easily if you let it go.
And we in fact see that switch lane, so we're going to see Set going into the jungle, and they see this. They're going to prepare for this, and they're going to really punish the Set for roaming too aggressively.
67 is continuing down the poking line, but we do have the Veigar coming up just to try and help out as much as possible. 67 taking all those fruits, not letting the Set heal. We do have 3v3 here in the river. Maokai trying to say, I want that scuttle, but they know they can't take it with 67 just standing there. Those early, actually I just noticed it, the early tabbies, or whatever they're called now, the ninja's boot, the plated kneecaps, I can't remember exactly what they're called. I will always call them tabbies. Those early against the Set, I think is really going to change this lane.
And fundamentally, 67 just has that advantage, and he's going to play up that advantage and let it keep essentially giving him priority and a really good challenge presence, the challenge Rift objective, which is going to keep MTU in this game.
We do see the supports battling out in river. We see the Jhin going up to help the Zillion, but Braum doesn't care. He can just back away with his mighty shield wall backing up.
And that poke potential, right? Set can get some damage back his shield, but that shield disappears over time.
Yeah, you have to do it in the moment you're taking damage, essentially, or else it's just going to dwindle down to little to nothing.
And I don't think that DePaul has an answer for this scaling Pantheon.
Ooh,
right, he's 3-1. Go ahead.
All right, ooh, we see a little shield or bush ganking coming in from 4 in a box, landing the root and giving Kog'Maw the
So he
kill.
landed his Q and Daisy right on the ADC, which is going to spiral the fight towards our direction. And realistically, Ivern's a great champ just after level 6 because Daisy fundamentally changes the way he plays.
Yes, instead of trying to be a little bit more cagey, land a Q, kind of run away, let your laners do most of the damage. Once you get Daisy, as Ivern, you want to go all in 24/7 with Daisy.
And they're going to set up for an early dragon, but these saplings are definitely going to punish. The only problem is they don't do enough damage yet.
Not only that, we do see the Zillion bombs coming in, but you're only landing one at a time rather than throwing both to try and stun because MTU, as you saw Sengo, we're sharing the bombs so those stuns wouldn't come in.
And realistically, Kevin's still being a menace in the top lane, right? And giving huge advantage to our mid laner, Neferi, to kind of roam. And we see Neferi picking up Neferi's first legendary item. And she's going to have a huge advantage over Veigar with only a last chapter.
I think definitely when the first mythics come out, it will definitely help determine a lane. We do see Veigar backing as well. And that gold difference is very minuscule in the mid lane. Actually, Veigar's up by only about 10 gold, so I think he might have enough. And he does. He purchases his Everfrost.
And really, he gets his boots, which is going to give him a good advantage. But Neferi's going to walk away with potentially 1 plate and 125 gold.
And also, not just that, also pushing those minions under wave in the mid lane as well as robbing, essentially, Veigar of at least a couple minions, hopefully. But it's not enough of a pushing power in the mid lane to get through that cannon minion in time. Veigar catches up to hopefully catch that CS.
And realistically, you just have kind of like a break or a lull. We see Neferi get that plate, and what does she do? She just backs off to help with Rift Herald.
Yep. We do see the Ivern and the Pantheon up on the Rift Herald. They're not letting DePaul anywhere near. We do see the Neferi ult going in on the Maokai. Maokai dealing the CC enough for Veigar's ult to come in and punch Neferi right in the face.
And we have a fight in bot. We have a fight at Rift Herald. And we have a fight
everywhere.
And realistically, Kog'Maw getting that kill on Jhin, which is super pivotal because it can allow the bot lane to essentially back, reset, and kind of slow the tempo of what's going on across the map.
We do see that pick down there. We do see the Zillion did pop his ult for that too. So not only what did not seem like a super close fight in my opinion, but I think it was most likely would have been completely one-sided that MTU like to take.
And that's where you as the Zillion decide, are you going to pop your ult here and potentially waste it? Or save your ADC and live to fight another day? And that's the only problem is that we didn't see that, and so that's kind of gone for 170 seconds.
Exactly. Zillion ults, especially over other ults, are gone for a lot longer.
I think it's because Zillion was one of the very first champions introduced in the game, and you see a lot of those early champions realistically have ults that just take forever to get back.
Yeah, if you think about it, it's nothing like Karthus ult. Don't get me wrong. It's not a cooldown like Karthus ult.
But it's significant enough to certainly matter and allow MTU to prepare for this next objective. So we have Dragon coming off in 2 minutes and 13 seconds, and we have a very big play coming out here in the bot lane.
We do see 3 in the bot lane for both teams. Maokai is going down into the actual lane, hopefully, to try and fight. We do see the Rift Herald being dropped as well. Maokai ult coming down mixed with the Jhin ult. Braum being able to knock up the entire enemy team except for the Jhin. TP coming in from the set, going in, doing the true damage on the Braum, getting the pick. Pantheon's just up getting the turret because no more turret plates are there. We do see Rift taking down more plates onto the turret. Zillion popping ult on himself. Maokai's low. Set's low. The Fury coming in, ulting in. TP coming in from the Veigar. He wants some smoke down in the bot lane. Veigar popping his Everfrost, popping his Cage. It's no kill still here in the bot lane since that TP came in. I think that ends up being a 2-for-1 in the bot lane.
Yes, and you see a lot of summoner spells being used, right, to kind of stop the bleeding, if you will. And at the end of the day, 2 kills, 2 plates, significantly worth.
And free tower topside.
And a free tower topside. And so this was perfect timing because now there's no more turret plates and no more gold advantage to be earned by attacking turrets.
We do see this Veigar trying to pick off some stacks on Braum, but does miss every single ability, though. Listen, Oblivionize, top tier dodging.
Yeah, and I guess he's not more Oblivionize anymore, right? Because he's Dr. Kinnan. And the only greatest thing I think would be if he actually played Kinnan in the bot lane with the Dr. Kinnan
skin.
But, I mean, all around we're seeing a slow play out for MTU. We're not seeing an early gold advantage. It's only 3K at 15 minutes, but we're seeing the Fury go to bot, solo lane, get some more CS.
We do see the root coming in from the Ivern going on to the Pantheon. Zillion again using ult on himself, through bomb on himself as well, but I don't think it's enough to fully get out. But Zillion ulting out to get out. The ult's coming in from the Pugma. Sorry. But 67 does come in, throwing the spear, getting the kill.
And that snipe was amazing.
That was an amazing snipe coming in from Kevin. We do see the root coming from Daisy. Jin's coming in just saying, hey, I'm still here. I can throw a root. But it's not enough to still get a pick. And I believe that's a free dragon for MTU.
Not only a free dragon, but amazing map presence because they're just going to rotate to bot, secure that bot tower, and then you're going to have the same thing you had last game, which is 2 side lanes nobody can contest.
We did just see the teleport coming in from the Fury on the top side to stop that set push onto turret. Because if there's one thing set can do well, it's push turrets hard.
And don't get me wrong, I love the old meta, which with Hullbreaker, where almost every top took Hullbreaker. It was just a menace all across the map.
The Banner of Command and all the different buffs when that was a thing. And they had literally taken an item out of the game because they made like 2 champions so powerful.
And I don't know if you remember this, but early League of Legends had an item called Wrecker,
yes.
which neutralized turrets, so you could easily have a team fight break out a turret. And for 2.5 seconds, I believe, that turret was totally neutralized.
I've seen entire teams bring Wrecker into a fight before. Now, those were the Wrecker and Banner of Command when those two were simultaneous at the same time. There's like a couple months when that was.
And just so everyone's aware, I played way back in beta. And so I even remember when Urgot and Taric were the ADC support combos. And they were a menace because there was just literally nothing you could do if the enemy team chose it.
I think I started playing around 2014, 2013. So I was still pretty early, but not that early. I joined in when Lucian was new.
Okay. And yeah, I mean, that was a really good time. My friend got me into it when I came back from Korea the first time, which would have been roughly around 2009 to 2011. And so when I got back, they would always be playing a new game. And they would always try to get me into it. And it was always fun going over to their house because it would be a game that I'd play for like the next 5 or 6 years.
League has stuck through me everywhere I go. I'll be honest with you. I can't stop playing it.
And we have a team fight coming up into the mid lane.
A lot of ults have already been used. The Braum ult's down. And that's a big engage or disengage for the side of MTU.
And realistically, if we're looking at the bot lane, 67 is pushing that Vigar so he can't back. And he's really taking Vigar off the table for him to help his fellow teammates up in the mid.
We do see the ult from the Fury going in onto the ult of the Zillion. Zillion ulting himself, keeping himself alive once more. Iron's shield protecting the Fury from even close to being dead. Even Daisy's still up. Low engage, nobody dies. Veigar is not able to join the fight. Pantheon and Veigar both back. We do see TP from Pantheon going to the mid lane. 67 says, I want a piece of some action.
And Poro in a box starting Rift Herald. But are we going to see them get the full Rift Herald out, or are we going to see a team fight break out, and this just kind of a bait tactic to get DePaul into a losing team fight?
DePaul actually just got Visionly like 20 seconds ago, if that. Rift's already half health, not engaging at all. Kevin, 67, going in on this set, not letting him even near the Rift Herald right now. It looks like it will be further uncontested, a free Rift Herald for MTU. Ult coming in from the Braum again, not knocking up anybody, but does slow the enemy team's movement through that zone.
And you're going to see them just stop using ults and kind of back off here and recall. And the big thing for me is this is a great team fight, essentially, or the bait of the presence of a team fight, essentially to secure that Rift Herald, and then really open up the map, because the threat of Rift Herald is very scary indeed.
Especially with all the turret plates down, so the damage is not like minimized anymore.
Yes, and that presence of that Rift Herald is gonna realistically help push bot with Neferi or mid and get rid of that Jhin presence. And so you can't really know, but
we do see that ult from Zillion going onto the Jhin. Jhin ult's going down. MTU tried tower diving too deep. Jhin ult getting the pick onto Kog'Maw.
And Neferi.
I thought I saw the Braum had gone down as well.
So we have two. We have Braum going down and Neferi. Or no, sorry, Braum and Kog'Maw going down.
But Jhin only got the pick on the Cog with his ult. I believe the Zillion got the pick on the Braum that time round.
And so with those two players going down, essentially, it's going to allow DePaul to get some vision awareness around the map.
We see the ult cut from the Fury going in on DePaul. He knows that Zillion does not have ult anymore, but they get away. Maokai Q push away, plus Zillion's speed is too much. We see the Jhin root on the Neferi. The cage, they did knock him right side of the cage. Ivern still is ripped. He's trying to walk away, but the Everfrost does go on from the Vigar. The Vigar ult going in on the Ivern, killing him. That is Poro in a box down. Jungler down on the MTU side. We do see DePaul starting this Baron.
And this is going to be relatively a free Baron. 67 and Neferi can offer some resistance to it.
Ooh, we do see Kog'Maw coming into the fight, and Pantheon ulting in to try and kill anyone around the dragon. They do get a kill onto the Maokai and a kill onto the set. We see Pantheon get a kill onto the Zillion. 3 down for the side of DePaul. 2 down. Neferi get the pick onto the Jhin. We do see 4. Do we see 5? We do see 5. Double kill for the side of Pantheon, and that's an ace for MTU.
And like I was saying, that's going to be a free Baron, essentially.
But for MTU.
Yeah, but for MTU. Realistically, that was a fight that nobody wanted to have, and realistically, DePaul just allowed MTU to poke them down too much and actually make that fight playable from the side of MTU.
We actually saw that Maokai having under 500 health from the Baron when he was finally walking away when they decided they can't fight it anymore. And that just allowed the Pantheon to come in, ult in, and just basically insta-kill and pop the enemy jungler.
And then, yeah, you can't secure Baron after that, especially with 4 people breathing down kind of that one spot on the map.
We do see DePaul coming down to the dragon. They hit the vision bush. They know they're on dragon. DePaul, Maokai using ult to try and root. Maokai does get the steal on dragon with the smite steal. Ivern's kind of trapped on that side of the wall, getting knocked back by the Maokai. Jhin getting the pick onto Ivern. 4v4 here in the bottom side of the river. We do see the 5th Vigar up coming down. Ult from the Fury going on the Jhin. That he doesn't know that the cage is there. He gets caught up in the cage, and Everfrost perma CC'd. But while that's all happening, Kog'Maw is getting the picks on the Zillion and the set. Kog'Maw, does he have the damage to keep going? He decides to fall back. 4 on that 4v5. MTU gets 3 picks in that fight. While Poro in a box does go down earlier, that little flip in that mid fight was very astounding.
And realistically, they're getting gold on the champions they need to carry, right? They're sacrificing the Ivern so that Kog'Maw can get 3 kills. And he's going to be able to finish his items. He's going to be able to get a huge gold bounty. And they're going to get this mid turret relatively free.
We are seeing this Kog'Maw pick up Rage Blade, which is a very strong item in the hands of maybe 2 or 3 ADCs at most. Kog'Maw is definitely one of them.
And realistically, that added attack speed. Oh, we see the Rift Herald. Can they get this turret before he strikes?
I think that they were forced into it just for timing reasons. You know, Rift Herald does expire. They do get the stun onto the Rift from the Zillion bombs, but it is when it gets his charge off, and they do get the first turret in mid lane. MTU does seem that they want the second charge, but it's not enough. Jhin opening up with the ult. Ivern getting caught out again in the perma CCs. That Jhin ult is coming in very clutch in a lot of these fights. We've seen his last 2 or 3 ults. He's gotten 1 or 2 kills every single time.
And Redemption coming out with a Pantheon ult to kind of back them off. And although it was a 2-for-1 on the side of DePaul, this is still a pretty even matchup, especially considering that Baron buff.
Oh yeah, plus they have the MTU does have the 2 more fed members of their team here in the mid lane with the Baron buff backup.
And realistically, we're going to want to see how Neferi's down in the bot lane. I think everyone forgot about her.
Just took a turret. A side turret tier 2. That's 600 gold for the team.
And realistically, with Neferi's kit, she's able to not only get out, but do a little penguin dab.
Listen, since they took away clan names, they added emotes. I think it was almost a fair trade.
But I love the personality.
Ooh, we do see the ult trying to stop the Set going backing, and Neferi does get that very quick and a lot of damage pick onto Set.
And you love to see Big Daddy Bard right there fake the escape and kind of come back in and catch a member of DePaul's team just kind of, I guess, maybe just looking at the shop and what his next items were.
I know I've fallen to that bait and trap many times. It's fooled me a bunch. It is what it is. You just gotta say, I hate that happened, but how can you improve from that, from the Set's perspective?
And realistically, these are 2 really good teams playing really high-level League of Legends.
Yes. We do see that Zillion having to pop his ult again on himself, so now MTU knows no Zillion ult if they can pick this fight early. We do see 67 getting picked into the Veigar cage. He does have the redemption coming in on him. He does survive. Veigar ult only leaving him with 120 health left.
And he keeps his gold bounty of 550 gold.
And because he pulled all of the enemy team over there, that is a tier 2 mid lane turret for MTU.
And you see that gold advantage just keep climbing, right? We're now at 10K.
At 25 minutes.
At 25 minutes with only 6 kill differential. But the advantage on MTU's side is just, it's getting out of hand. And it's, what do you do when you're DePaul? How do you fundamentally change the way you're going to play to account for this?
Every time I've looked at the map, I've seen all 3 lanes of MTU pushing. And that's just very hard to manage because you're at this point in the game, DePaul's side laners can't match MTU's side laners. So you're going to have like the roaming duo with your side laner, try to do like a 1-1-3, get a pick, maybe do a 1-1-3 the other way. There's not much else you can do at this point.
And realistically, DePaul's not out by any stretch of the imagination. One great team fight, and you have them just back in the game and able to push out a tier 3, a tier 2, and potentially get even a tier 3 turret.
Yeah, plus these turret bounties especially, if you can push a lane all the way to tier 2 with these bounties on that DePaul has, they're going to be making about 2,000 gold back.
And you're back in it.
Yeah.
You're back in the game, and, you know, for all intents and purposes, you know, you're taking it to game 3, and that's what DePaul wants to do. But easier said than done, right?
Yeah, especially with, honestly, with their very hard defeat last game, they're starting to see it's another 10,000 gold lead. It's, again, that mental that we've been talking about.
And, you know, being someone who enjoys League of Legends, right, it can be a very punishing game. And so, realistically, you just have to kind of fight through it and look for that next team fight where you're going to change the tempo of the game and kind of push as hard as you can.
Yeah, Baron just came up, and Maokai just used his ult to try and get that pick on that Pantheon. I don't know if MTU's going to try and profit off of that, knowing that Maokai doesn't have his ult, if they should just start a team fight. But we do see Nafiri in the bot lane. She does have TP to TP in when she needs help, but she's also there to push that bot lane out, as I've been saying. The Braum does get Permacy Seed from the Jhin and the Veigar cage, but he does get out without a death. Zilean using ult on himself again, saving himself again.
Wouldn't that be very nice to have in real life? Just like a Zilean ult everywhere you go, like the job interview didn't go the way you wanted, Zilean ult. The people at the bank didn't give you all the money you needed, Zilean ult.
Kind of a nuanced version of a Groundhog Day, essentially. But you're not trapped in that infinite loop. It's by choice.
But we do see a kind of a team fight breaking out around Baron.
We do see the Maokai flash in, try and get the steal. We see the Braum and the Pantheon going in for the back line. The Maokai does get picked off by the... sorry, Pantheon goes in for the Zilean. I'm so sorry. I just staggered for the name of Jhin for a second. We do see a 4K in the name of MTU.
And they're not going to pick up this mid wave. They're just going to help the Fury push against the set. And that's a really hard push to stop.
We do see the ult and all-inning on to the set under tower, and the Fury decides to back up, but you do have all 5 members of your team here. You do have the knock-up onto the set, and it's just a kill for the Kog'Maw.
And so you're going to see 1 turret go down.
We're going to see 2 turrets go down.
And then you're going to see nothing really to stop them from hitting that Nexus.
All of the kill counters are still going. Zilean just came up. A beautiful game from MTU.
And realistically, that closes out the series at 2-0, and we're kind of on to week 3 now.
We are. That game was just beautiful. MTU pulled ahead greatly with their gold lead, just like they did the game before. It was a little bit later. I will say DePaul did have a lot better early game this game.
But, I mean, if you just look at even, like, the level difference, we have Braum, level 14 versus a level 11 Zilean.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to me, that shows how much MTU has really dominated in DePaul. And DePaul did a fabulous job.
Yes.
Right? They should walk away with their head held high, knowing that they played great League of Legends. But realistically, at the end of the day, I'll say this again numerous times probably in the future, but I'm a little bit biased towards MTU.
I'll be honest, as a student here, I am too. Speaking about next week, Monday we have a doubleheader for Rocket League. First match beginning at 8:15 p.m. against St. Xavier, and the second match being at 9 p.m. against St. Clair College. Tuesday, we're back with League of Legends match at 7 p.m. against Farmingdale State College. Wednesday, we have a Valorant match against Drexel University at 7 p.m. And ending the week off with a Super Smash Bros. Match 7 p.m. against Oakland University. Thank you so much for our partners for supporting MTU Esports. I'm Philip Erhab.
And this is Coach Isbell.
And have a wonderful day.